Call the meeting of the Whittier Regional VOTEC School Committee to order. Can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Early, Ms. Sullivan, Mr. Rossi,
Present.
Ms. Coppinger, Ms. Delai,
Present.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia,
Present.
Mr. Murphy,
Here.
Ms. Lowell,
Here.
Mr. Bowe,
Here.
Ms. True,
Here.
Ms. O'Connor,
Here.
Mr. Slavoski,
Here.
and the chair.
Here. So please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Those attending tonight's meeting should be aware that the meeting is being audio and video recorded by Whittier VOTEC. Any audience members who wish to record any part of the meeting must inform the chairperson who will announce the recording. This is to comply with the Mass Wiretap statute. First item on the agenda is going to be public comment. Anybody here for public comment? Anyone here for public comment? Did we get any written public comments?
Not.
All right, seeing none. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes, April 9, 2025, minutes of the public hearing on the FY26 budget. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the public hearing.
Motion by
April 9th.
Mr. Murphy,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Delai. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early, Ms. Sullivan, Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Coppinger, Ms. Delai,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bowe,
Abstain?
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. April 9, 2025, minutes of the annual organization meeting. Is there a motion?
Second?
Motion by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Murphy. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Delai,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bowe,
Abstain?
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
and Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. April 9, 2025, minutes of the regular school committee meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the special school committee meeting of April 23rd.
No, April 9th, the
April
regular
9th,
meeting.
I'm sorry.
Motion to approve the
Second.
minutes of the April 9th regular school committee meeting by
Regular,
Mr.
yes.
Murphy, seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Delai,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bowe,
Abstain?
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. Next item, April 23rd, 2025, minutes of the special school committee meeting.
Motion to approve the April 23rd meeting.
Motion by Mr. Murphy,
Second?
seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Delai,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bowe,
Abstain?
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. Next item on the agenda, payments of bills, financial report, the treasurer's report from April. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Ms. True, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Fitzgerald. Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Delai,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia,
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bowe,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. Communication, student representative report, Ms. Kaylee Habib.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, and all other committee members. As the year is winding down for Chess Club, they continue to get new members, which makes them more excited for next year. There are only a couple of seniors in Chess Club, so they envision a strong future. The board game club is a welcoming environment that gains new members each week. The laughter was loud last month as students played Telestrations, which is a spin-off of Pictionary. Drama Club is preparing for the talent show for the senior class on May 23rd. They look forward for a fun and entertaining day. The Interact Club hosted a Haverhill Rotary meeting on Thursday, April 10th. They'll assist with the Bradford Common plant sale on Saturday, May 17th, and serve community meals at the Harold Citizen Center on June 23rd. Art Club helped with the design of the Clean River Project fundraiser banner. They're now working on stencils to place Whittier logos on the 200-foot boom used for the Merrimack River cleanup. The yearbook has wrapped up the 2025 books. Thank you to all the students who worked so hard to complete this yearbook ahead of schedule. The Baby and Company ads section of this year's book generated over $6,000 in sales. Student Government is finishing up celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week, where they wrote each teacher a personalized thank you note and offered them some choices from a treat cart. They're so thankful for fantastic staff, and they're looking forward to the early elections in June, where they will elect next year's officers. The Poetry Club celebrated Poetry Month by posting the poems on the school's entrance signs. Their meetings were fun and creative. The Environmental Club was successfully hung up. They successfully hung up all 10 tree identification signs. The signs line the walkway from the junior lot all the way down to the football field. The Envirolog and informational sign will be held for graduation, so parents will be able to see the final product. In April, the Multicultural Club went on its biannual field trip to the world-re-owned Peabody Essex Museum, where they toured the galleries. Peer-to-Peer just wrapped up their canned food drive. They collected about 40 cans of food. They'll be picking a pantry in Haverhill to drop off the donations within the next week. The Skills USA Club earned 14 silver and 12 bronze medals in the competition. They raised $3,000 for the Clean River Project and brought 2 river booms to be placed in June. With a very young group, they are looking forward to next year. The United Nations Club attended their final conference at Northeast on May 2nd, and they focused on climate refugees. 4 students won awards, including Best Negotiator and Best Public Speaker. Moving on to sports, track and field has had a great year so far with their new timing system. It has elevated their ability to host meets to a very high level. The boys and girls teams are doing very well, as they've had several school records broken this year, with more to come. Boys volleyball is having a great year for their 3rd-year program. They're taking all the top teams in the state right to the end. The kids are having a great time and enjoying the season. The lacrosse team is going strong with an impressive 11-2 record and is gearing up for tournament play. Girls lacrosse has been doing fantastic this season, lots of progress from last year. Unfortunately, they will not make the state tournament, but they are looking forward to next year. The varsity baseball team has had an up and down season. The team is currently 6-7 record, while they will need to go strong with 4 wins and 3 losses to make the MIAA state tournament. The team is working hard, having fun, and it's really a great group of kids. Lastly, the softball team is continuing with an amazing start. They are 9-2 and are looking forward to the MIAA tournament. One of our student athletes has reached 2 incredible milestones. First being 100 career hits, and second being 500 plus strikeouts. The team has a great chemistry, and they're looking forward to the rest of the season. Thank you.
Thank you. And Kaylee, it's my understanding tonight is your last meeting with us.
Yes.
So I just wanted to, on behalf of the entire committee, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you here the past year. You've done a great job, represented the students well.
Thank
I had
you.
a little gift wanted to give you on behalf of the entire school committee. Thank you. Thank you again.
And you're going off to Wentworth?
Yes.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think she's being very humble, but I think she is the one of the 100 career hits in the second. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Leganis, I know you have the introduction of the new student representative for us.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Lynch, and the rest of the school committee members. I'm going to finish off that for Kaylee before we meet Ricky DeChico here. So Kaylee Habib, our senior pitcher from Haverhill, she's in Whittier's electrical program, 3 no-hitters, perfect games, 6 home runs, and is the top batter in the conference. Her athletic resume includes 500 career strikeouts, 100 career hits, 2-time league MVP honors, recognition, CAC All-Star, Eagle Tribune All-Star. Kaylee has recently signed to Wentworth Institute of Technology. So thank you for being humble. All right, I'm the lucky guy because now I introduce Ricky DeChico. Come on up, Ricky. Your new school committee student rep for next year. Another superstar, and I have a resume here, and I'm gonna do some highlights. So this is great. Ricky DeChico, Georgetown. He's from Georgetown. He's an aspiring architect. Achievements: varsity football, CAC All-Star, class president, treasurer, high honors, elected student representative. He's a CAD drafting shop manager, National Technical Honor Society Skills USA, CAD drafting program, in an accelerated program here at Whittier Tech, early college concurrent enrollment, and extracurricular stuff, varsity football, varsity lacrosse, student government, Model UN, Principals Council, and Skills USA. I introduce you to Ricky DeChico.
I'm honored to be here, and I'm excited to get to meet all of you.
Welcome.
Where are you from?
I'm from Georgetown.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Sorry for the cold welcome from Mr. Early, but the rest of us welcome you here.
I didn't say anything. We'll leave it at that.
Next item on the agenda is the Principal Assistant Superintendent Report, Mr. Leganis.
Good evening again, Mr. Chair, Superintendent Lynch, rest of the school committee members. I stand up here with some other positive stuff in the principal's report. Congratulations goes out to our Skills USA competitors, advisors for an amazing job. It was May 2nd and 1st to the 3rd, I believe, in the Massachusetts state competition in Marlboro. Although we didn't get a lot of gold medals, we didn't get any gold medals, they brought home a lot of silver and bronze. So congratulations, a lot of work goes out to the advisors as well as the kids. Whittier Tech Advisory Report, a lot of you were there, so thank you for showing. It was held on Thursday, May 8th. Our culinary arts and hospitality students hosted the annual dinner. Students showcased their talents, exceptional food, service, and lots of Whittier Tech pride. Our next big event will be the Whittier Foundation. I think maybe our business manager, Kara Cosmos, will talk a little bit. The Whittier Foundation will be the golf tournament, which is Monday, August 11th. We look forward to another great day at the Bradford Country Club. So pencil in your calendars for that. Grade 8 freshmen, if you can believe it, the incoming freshmen are going to be here on Saturday, and they're going to be with all of us Saturday morning, and our guru, my associate principal, will be running assessments and various things. So freshman orientation is scheduled for Saturday, the 17th. There'll be an assessment and other forms that the students will fill out. We have boots. They get boots here from the company, the Brunt company. And then also nurses' forms, IT stuff they'll fill out, start to get acclimated to Whittier Tech. And it's the kids only this round, and later on, if you remember in August, that's when we bring the parents in to get things going for the school year. MCAS testing time is approaching, May 20th, 21st for grade 10. We're still gonna do our reverse half days, which means that there's a 3-hour delay for our 9th, 11th, and 12th graders, but the 10th graders are here nice and quiet in the morning, and they are concentrating on the MCAS. Vocationally, May 16th is the last day for our CVTE program with the 9 kids. And from there, we hope these kids will segue into the CTI summer program. Those are the kids that are doing the seniors from the various schools that are doing the exploratory, and then the idea would be to get into our CTI summer program. Also, for our current students, we're having a May 20th to the 21st, the CTE signing day. Sort of like when sports signings, they sign off to the colleges. The companies are going to be coming in to do signings where the kids are going to be working. So another neat idea that we're trying to get going. Important senior activities, and this is crunch time starting this Friday. We have our senior movie night on the field, the Jumbotron, thanks to everybody here. And then, weather permitting, we do have a backup plan, thanks to Mr. Purcelli. We have our blow-up screen, and we'll have that in the gymnasium if it rains for the kids. So that's seniors only. We're having our movie night. It's grown-ups 1, rated PG-13, so we haven't advertised. Wednesday, May 21st, awards night in the auditorium is 7 PM. That's May 21st. I know a lot of the school committee members like to go to that. May 21st, awards night, auditorium, 7 PM. And then Friday, the 23rd, for our seniors, we have a talent show. And then it's off to the races after that. Tuesday, the 27th, the prom is going to be at Blue Ocean in Salisbury. And then Thursday's graduation. That's Thursday, May 29th at 7 PM, our graduation ceremony. As you heard from Kaylee, our sports have been very successful. Our lacrosse team is 12-2 at this point. Our baseball team, I believe the records, I don't know if they were 500 last time I checked. Maybe they're over 500 now. And the boys, girls, and track are doing very well this year, and as well as obviously the softball team, who are 9-2. So that's all I have for you. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more. Northern Essex early college ceremony is this Thursday night from 5 to 6:30 p.m. We have 60 early college students who earned credits this year while attending high school. So that's all I have. Yeah, really cool stuff, positive stuff.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Early?
I have a quick question. A couple parents have asked me, why are we doing graduation at 7 o'clock at night?
We used to do it earlier back in the day. I think when we had, COVID time, when we had, we moved it a little bit later, so we changed the time. And then we found out that it works because of the sun. You believe it or not, the sun is blaring. In the kids, it's hot, and hopefully that the Mother Nature helps, and the sun goes down a little bit, becomes a beautiful night, and we
Thank
hope
you.
it does
That's all
rain.
I'm asking.
So
Thank
that's
you.
why we did keep it at 7.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Business Manager, Ms. Cosmas, security contract.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, and members of the committee. Thank you, Mr. Leganis, for talking about the golf tournament. I just wanted to let you know that the link in the website is live for anybody who's interested in signing up for golf. We also have a lunch option, and there are different sponsorship options. So you can go to the Whittier Tech website, click on Foundation, and it's there. Okay, a couple of things for you tonight. Renewal of the security contract. The contract with our current security, who is Jet Security, it expires this June, the end of June. We solicited quotes from the state bid list for a 2-year contract. We solicited 3 vendors. We received quotes from only 2, Alliance Security and Jet Security. Jet provided the lowest responsible bid with an hourly rate of $28 for regular hourly work, $42 for holiday work, which represents a 3.75 increase. Given the estimated value of $540,400 for the 2 years contract, I am requesting school committee approval. I do want to state that about 20% of this fee is paid by night school every year, so the district budget is not absorbing the entire amount of this quote.
Any questions? Mr. Murphy?
Motion to approve the jet security contract.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Murphy, seconded by Mr. Rossi. Any discussion? Mr. Early?
They're the current security.
Yes.
How do they do? A good job?
They do, yeah. It's a tough job, so, yeah, they do
Thank you.
fine.
Any other discussion? The only thing I'd say in the future, I'd like to see it go out to bid beyond the state bid list. I think that the hourly rate's a little higher than what we probably could get. I think we're probably paying $3 or $4, knowing that industry, probably $3 or $4 an hour higher on the contract than most places will bid. But if you contain it to only the state bid list, then I think that's why. So in the future, I'd like to see a comprehensive RFP to solicit more quotes to make sure when you're talking $500,000, I'd like to make sure that we're getting the best deal possible. And I'm not sure by doing it this way that we are getting the best deal possible.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Early?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Delai?
Present.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mr. Paglio? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Lowell?
Yes.
Mr. Bowe?
Yes.
Ms. True?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski?
Yes.
Passes. Next item, E&D and Transportation Revolving Transfer / Appropriation.
I'm requesting that the school committee vote to increase the FY '25 budget by $1,246,152. $900,000 of this increase will come from the excess and deficiency account, and $346,152 will come from the balance in the regional transportation account. The $900 from excess and deficiency will be transferred into the district stabilization account, and this will allow the district to continue to set aside funds that can be used for capital projects and/or to address the concerns of the aging facility. After this transfer, we will have $308,898 remaining in E&D funds, but I do anticipate that this account will be replenished by funds that will remain at the end of the year in the operating budget, along with investment earnings, which are estimated to be in excess of $400,000. And if you looked at the treasurer's report, you'll see that the interest for last month alone was $45,000. So we would be starting probably with an E&D balance even after this transfer of $700,000 plus. The $346,152 from regional transportation represents the remainder of the FY '24 transportation revenues that were carried over from FY '24 and must be used this year. This transfer will increase the transportation appropriation in the general fund, and it will be used to purchase, in this case, replacement buses. Regional transportation funds received this current year will carry forward to next year. So in order to accomplish this, I'm requesting that the school committee increase the FY '25 general fund operating budget to $31,897,087. There will be no resulting change to the member municipality assessments.
Your motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. True to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Lai. Any discussion? Mr. Lai?
What are we actually voting for?
Uh,
I'm sorry, somebody's talking, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lai has the floor, and then we'll go over the motion. Go ahead, Mr. Lai.
I think this is just basically the way, is accounting mechanism that we can take the money from E&D, and this is how we would move the funds, right, from E&D to the budget, and then they get moved to the stabilization fund.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah.
Okay, so
thank you.
this is really about end of year
Yeah,
accounting.
it has to,
and
they
such.
have to raise the budget up and
Yes.
notify the communities, but it's just basically a transfer,
Right,
direct transfer. Yeah.
understood, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Mr. Lai.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mr. Paglia.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Lowell.
Yes.
Mr. Bo.
Yes.
Ms. True.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
Yes.
Passes. In the capital outlay appropriation request, Ms. Cosmos?
Sure. The FY '25 capital outlay budget included $303,345 for the replacement of pumps in the wastewater treatment plant. Since the district decided to instead go with and hire a owner's project manager who will do an in-depth study of the existing conditions, replacement of the pumps is obviously on hold until we know what the best option for us is, and it will not happen in FY '25. As such, I would like to request that the school committee allow the $303,345 to be appropriated instead for the purchase of replacement school buses. A quotation was received from DeVivo Bus Company utilizing Sourcewell Contract 102623 ICB. Participation in Sourcewell is available to all government and education entities as a way to streamline the procurement process by developing RFPs that meet or exceed state or local requirements, which in this instant would be, it meets Mass General Laws, Chapter 30B, procurement laws. DeVivo currently has 6 new international buses that can be delivered to us in June. The cost after trade-in is $630,006.08. The $303,345 from capital outlay, along with the balance of $346,152 in the transportation revolving that you just approved that we move over, will provide the funds for us to purchase all 6 buses. Therefore, I'm respectfully requesting reallocation of $303,345 from capital outlay and the authorization to purchase up to 6 new buses.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lai. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Early. Did you second it? Or Mr. Rossi did? Discussion. Mr. Early.
So we're not leasing anymore,
Not
we're
this year.
purchasing?
Well, it depends. Sometimes we have the advantage with leasing, and sometimes we don't. The lease this year would have meant that the buses would have been later, and they didn't have them on hand.
These are available now,
They are available now, which is unusual, and
so they're $100,000.
about 100,000, which is significantly less than what we found in the past, so we figured we would jump on it.
Thank you.
Mr. Murphy?
That's, I'm surprised at the price and also the availability.
I know, well, there is a trade-in, remember, we trade in our
Yeah,
old buses.
yeah.
But that was what made the decision to purchase, was they were not only available, they have them and they can deliver them as soon as school is over.
Yeah.
So the mechanic will have all summer to get the cameras installed, the signage and all that, usually we're scrambling.
That's good.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Lai?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mr. Paglia?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Lowell?
Yes.
Mr. Bo?
Yes.
Ms. True?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Slabowski?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you very much.
Next, liaison for Whittier Tech and Northern Essex Community College, Mr. Reagan.
Good evening, everybody. School committee members, Superintendent Lynch. It's great to be with you tonight to update you on our progress and the positive momentum around the shared campus building project with Northern Essex Community College. First of all, at this point, I can report to you all that local leaders representing all 11 of Whittier Tech's district communities have stated their willingness and intention to sign the letter required by the Massachusetts School Building Authority well before the July 1 deadline for the Whittier Tech High School building project to go forward and proceed into MSBA's eligibility period this summer. Communities leaders, mayors, and select board chairs have all agreed to sign the MSBA letter, in some cases pending approval by their local boards by June 1. Some boards have already voted to sign, and a few others have scheduled votes by the end of the month. I'll tell you more about those details in a minute. The June 1 timeline gives Superintendent Lynch and NECC President Elaine Glenn 1 month to clear any unexpected hurdles or snags in meeting MSBA's July 1 deadline a month later. Again, as I said, several select boards have already approved the MSBA letter. Earlier this week, Rowley, Groveland, and Salisbury voted to sign the letter. Georgetown approved the letter at the end of April. Merrimack is voting tomorrow night. Newbury is voting May 27th. The Amesbury and Havel mayors have either signed or said they will be signing soon. The Newburyport mayor has said he will sign by June 1st, as we asked him to. Ipswich and West Newbury haven't voted yet, but they're scheduled to have select board meetings and votes by the end of the month. There have been a couple of minor changes that the Whittier Tech at NECC Municipal Working Group has made to the original language provided by MSBA for the letter. Specifically to the 3 action items the state is requiring from us. The agreed to steps under the slightly altered language, I'll tell you what those are. Number 1, this is the one we changed a little bit. Create a new Whittier Regional Vocational Technical School District Agreement. Formally, it just said to amend the agreement as required. The new language specifies a new agreement will be created and implemented. Number 2, support the district during the feasibility study phase to examine the proposed sites for the new school. And number 3, acknowledge that the district will pay for the feasibility study and conduct it in accordance with MSBA rules in its eligibility period invitation. As for the estimated $2.5 million cost of the feasibility study, both Superintendent Lynch and President Glenn have secured approval from both their boards for $500,000 each from each school's existing funds toward the study. That leave the district, cities, and towns share the cost at about $1.5 million, which would be assessed over 2 years. The $750,000 per year in capital funding needed for the study is similar to what the district asks from the communities in capital funds in a typical year. This year, for instance, the capital request was a little under $700,000. MSBA has said it will allow the district to use parts of the old feasibility study, the one we did last year, for the new one. So there's also the possibility of reducing the cost of the study further, but we're using the $2.5 million estimate to be conservative. At the most recent May 6th meeting of the Whittier Tech at NECC Municipal Working Group meeting, everyone agreed that we will organize a ceremonial signing event for the MSB letter, most likely sometime in June, in which representatives of the 11 communities would all sign the letter together. This could possibly take place at Whittier Tech or the Necco football field and be hosted by the working group. The idea is this would be a symbolic display of unity that all the cities and towns are now working together toward the exciting goal of a new Whittier Tech High School in partnership with the college. Also at the meeting, Superintendent Lynch and President Glenn talked about how the two schools are already collaborating and detailed their efforts to expand the popular early college program. Early college is a program where students at Whittier Tech and many other local high schools send some of their students to NETCO for classes to earn college credits. There are 162 Whittier Tech students in early college at NETCO this year. Superintendent Lynch reiterated her standing invitation to provide tours to Whittier Tech, to any members of the working group who would like to see the building or understand the school and our programs better. Superintendent Lynch and President Glenn provided an update to the group of a meeting they had recently with Mass Development to discuss and consider future uses of the current Whittier Tech site should the school move to the NETCO campus. The idea is that the property, which is owned collectively by the district communities, could be leased or sold and redeveloped, and the proceeds used towards the cost of the new building project, or in the case of a lease, a recurring revenue stream to help fund future budgets or capital needs. Those talks will be continuing, and we'll have more updates for you very soon. Superintendent Lynch provided an update on Whittier Tech's failing water treatment plant at the meeting. She said the school's preference, if possible, is to make Band-Aid repairs that would allow the plant to safely operate for a few more years, rather than building a brand-new multi-million-dollar plant until the district knows if its efforts to build a new high school will be successful. The superintendent reported the school recently hired an owner's project manager to analyze the wastewater plant. She said the plan is to empty the plant this summer to conduct extensive testing and determine the best course of action. As a quick refresher on the building project timeline, if MSBA receives the letter required by July 1, which we're certainly on target for, Whittier Tech is expected to progress into the eligibility phase of project consideration this August. The feasibility study is expected to begin in the summer of 2026, that's next summer after this one. Design, cost estimates, and the creation of a new regional agreement capital funding formula that includes the state and the college as partners would take place during the feasibility study phase. So clearly we have a long way to go. The next working group meeting is June 16th, and that's what I have for you tonight.
Any discussion? Anyone? Mr. Lai?
Do you have any questions? Are we good?
I have a question.
Mr. Lai?
And if you may not know the answer, but I was a little bit confused about assessing the cost of the feasibility study to the member communities over a 2-year period. As I understand it, like if we were to sign a contract with an OPM and a designer, we would have to have an appropriation on hand to be able to execute that contract. So they'll have to commit those funds and appropriate those funds. You're just not gonna make them pay it out all at once. You're gonna ask them to pay it over.
We're gonna ask the communities to pay it over 2 years to lessen the burden. Exactly how, maybe the superintendent knows if we're gonna pay that with our funds ahead of time, or how exactly that's gonna work.
Yeah.
But the idea is to, in a typical year, the capital request has been around $700,000, so we wanted to keep it around the same and spread it over 2 years. That's the thinking behind it.
We might have to look into that.
That's how we did it in the past. It's like you said, is
They
that,
commit it, but you
Yeah.
assess it.
Didn't you vote on that already?
that's for the 500,000 for the initial that we are saying committed to.
I'm talking about the member contributions.
Mr. Rossi?
Is there a summer schedule for this group by any chance?
Last scheduled meetings is mid-June, but I believe we're gonna continue meeting monthly. I
Okay.
think that's the plan,
Alright,
so
thanks.
we'll have some more dates coming out soon, I imagine.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
Just to clarify, the $750 a year, that's based on a capital, agreement as opposed to the operating?
Yes, that would be a capital assessment.
The same way we currently do it, yeah, for capital expenses.
Any other discussion? Seeing none? Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Have a great night.
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you.
Next item on the agenda, reports and recommendation of the superintendent. Madam Superintendent.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I want to thank Sean and the municipal group that has been working very hard, since October, November, when we found out that we were going to be allowed into the eligibility stage if we did this work. It has been very exciting to see everyone getting excited about this possibility and where we can go and what we can do for our kids and what we can do for our workforce in our region. So I really want to publicly thank all the members of that municipal group because they have a lot of other things to do. I'm sure many of you have heard 3A, that seems to be a big thing in many of our communities right now, but they have taken the hour or two to meet with us and work on this plan, and I just really want to thank them publicly. On Thursday, April 10th, I attended the Haverhill Rotary Luncheon here at Whittier. If you feed them, they will come. We were happy to host this event at the Poets Inn. Amanda Crosby, our vocational coordinator, is a member of this organization. We also had our student Interact Club at the luncheon too, and it was a great luncheon. On Friday, April 11th, I had a progress call with MSBA. The municipal group is very excited about looking at Northern Essex Community College as a possible site, and they wanted me to ask MSBA if we could just look at that site, and MSBA was very clear, we are to look at both sites. And so I brought that information back to our next municipal meeting. On Tuesday, April 15th, April 30th, and May 13th, I had remote meetings with Allerton Associates, our PR company, to discuss a communication strategy. It's going to be very important as we move forward with this project that we have a real strategy about how we are going to make sure our 11 communities are aware of what's going on and that they feel like they're involved in this process. On Monday, April 28th and May 12th, I had remote meetings with President Lane Glenn. These are check-in calls to update one another on our progress and with our communities regarding the project. On Wednesday, April 30th, I attended the Merrimack Valley Superintendents Association at Long Meadow Golf Club. There was a presentation about cell phones in schools and reviewing current trends. And I think many of you have seen that the Attorney General of Massachusetts is very involved about cell phones in schools. And I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about that as we move forward in the next year or so. I will say here, we do have a plan. It's not perfect, but mostly in our trade areas, they understand that those phones need to go into a locker. In carpentry, those places where that distraction could really become a safety issue. And I will say most of the shop areas are really taking that very seriously. On Friday, May 2nd, I attended the Skills USA competition at Blackstone Valley. It's really a great time. I recommend anyone, if you want to come and see that, it's really great to see the kids actually competing on their hands-on project. And then I attended the MAVA board meeting. On Saturday, May 3rd, I attended the award ceremony at Marlborough's Best Western. I want to thank all of the staff. The staff that do this, they leave they leave Thursday morning, or Thursday afternoon, they stay overnight, then they compete on Friday, they have the kids have a dance on Friday, and then they get them ready on Saturday morning for the awards. It's a huge responsibility. You're taking teenagers overnight, you're making sure that they arrive to their competitions on time. It's a real big responsibility, and they don't ask anything for it, they do it, because this is for the kids. So I hope I don't miss anyone, but I want to thank our vocational coordinator, Paul Maskovich, Adam Gagney, because he had to go and help out with chaperoning because he lived on the same town as the hotel. I want to thank our instructors, Bob Beaton, Tish Costa, Jane Moskovich, Mike Murray, Emily Palmer, Katie Staunton, Beverly Stickles, Heather Sweeney, Kyle Wade, Kayla Yameen, Terry Bragg, Bruce Boisel, Kim Malin, and Chris Goretti. And I truly hope I didn't miss anyone. I double checked, but again, I really want to thank them for doing this work. On Monday, May 5th, I attended the Raleigh and Georgetown town meetings. I'm happy to report that our budget passed at both meetings. I want to thank Kara Cosmas for attending the Georgetown meeting. I'll say the meetings this year have been very well attended. In Georgetown, they were in the completely full auditorium and a completely full cafeteria. On Tuesday, May 6th, I attended the Whittier Tech Municipal Group meeting at Northern Essex. Again, I'm happy to report that all towns are moving in the same direction and will be voting, or have been told us that they are going to vote in favor of moving forward with MSBA. On Wednesday, May 7th, I attended the MAVA MSBA meeting. This is a group of vocational superintendents that are all in the pipeline, and we learn from each other. What are you doing? How's this going? We have best practices, and actually we learned from some of our mistakes. On Wednesday, May 7th, I had another progress call with MSBA. We spoke about the progress of our municipal meetings, and they were very happy to hear about the progress. They want to make sure that everyone understands this is a Whittier Tech project. And Whittier Tech is responsible, it's with MSBA, and we need to make sure that we keep our eye on that ball. On Thursday, May 8th, Whittier hosted the annual General Advisory Board meeting with chairperson, school committee, and the superintendent, followed by an advisory board meeting. I want to thank all of you that attended. I think we all can agree the food was fabulous. The company was even better, but I really want to thank you for attending that dinner. On Saturday, May 10th, I attended the YMCA Gala along with Kara Cosmas. The YMCA was able to fundraise a significant amount of money for our summer programming for our Haverhill students. On Tuesday, May 13th, I attended the Haverhill City Council meeting. I'm happy to report that it appears that the Mayor of Haverhill is on board and moving forward with the project. She's most excited about the possibility of us working with Northern Essex, but understands that we do need to look at both locations. And now I would like to ask about school choice. So, school choice, in the past, we would accept students in for school choice. We do not have room for that. But I guess in the past, what we have asked is that students that have enrolled and started at Whittier Tech and for whatever reason may have moved out of the district, that they are allowed to stay on as a school choice student. So I'm asking the committee if we can do that again this year.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve that.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Murphy. Any discussion? Ms. Lowe.
Just for clarity, if they move out, they are not provided transportation. They can
Yes.
choose to still attend, but they have to provide their own transportation.
Yes.
Anyone else?
And so are we voting for school choice, or are we voting to allow kids who move out just to stay? Is that how the?
Yes.
Not accepting school
Not
choice.
school
We are
just-
not accepting school
Not
choice
accepting
students.
School choice, but if they move
Yeah,
out,
somebody
got it.
that's here.
That makes sense.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan.
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Ms. Delai.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mr. Paglia.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Lowell.
Yes.
Mr. Bowe.
Yes.
Ms. True.
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Slabowski.
Yes.
Passes.
And I'm sorry, I did this a little out of order. Outside projects, we have been very, 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 very busy this school year in most of our trade areas doing outside projects. I just want to highlight a couple of them. Our neighbor's table, we did a 12x16 storage shed. The Georgetown American Legion Park, there was an addition to the snack shack. Georgetown Police Station, caulking gaps in 5 jail cells. Built and delivered a set of stairs for the Haverhill Water Department, built and delivered 2 raised garden beds for Ipswich YMCA. It was in the newspaper, thank you, Carol. Built a new mooring barge for the Salisbury Harbor Master, dismantled and removed old mooring barge for Salisbury Harbor Master. I'm sorry, it's pages long, so I don't wanna, installed and compressed air storage tank and carpentry, attached air lines and main air supply for the plumbing and heating projects. All of our trade areas have been very busy, so I just really want to highlight a few of those projects and just say thank you to the instructors and to the students for helping our community. And, you know, I personally believe part of community service is, you know, giving back to our communities that give us so much, and hopefully that's what we're teaching our kids.
Mike Sandlin was fabulous, and then he brought all the seniors with him, and we had the little kids from the Y there, and
Yeah.
they're looking at the planters and putting stuff in it.
Yeah.
They were just, it was darling. It was really nice.
Great.
So they think.
The next thing is my end of the year summative evaluation report. I've provided that for you. I think we're looking to have that completed by the end of the school year, so for the June meeting. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me here or offline. I'm happy to answer anything.
Any questions?
Will there be
Ms.
a
True?
link sent separately, so is that how it's gonna work? And not on that
I
template
believe
that was
that's,
sent to us?
it's already been done.
It's already,
It's on the
Okay.
Google Classroom.
okay, I'll look again, thank you, I was looking for it last year.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, thank you, Madam Superintendent.
Thank
Old
you.
business,
In the mail.
school committee self-evaluation, Ms. Lowell.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, Patty.
Still talking about Google Classroom. Okay, so yes, old business, the committee's evaluation. I first just want to apologize to the committee for not speaking up last month when we had the opportunity. I wasn't prepared to respond to the limited comments that were made. And, but fortunately, I did have an opportunity to reflect on our evaluation and to actually look at the school committee policy, which is very brief and very direct. Specifically just says, that the school committee adopts an evaluation tool, that we conduct it annually, that we take time to consider it and reflect on it, discuss it, come up with objective or plural, for the coming year. And in my process of looking at that and reflecting on it, I realized and basically on what the limited discussion we had last month, my feeling about it was that, and I think some other people may feel the same way, that the actual procedure that we follow in doing our evaluation is very curt and doesn't lead to reflection and the development of objectives. And as the governing body of an educational institution that is based on self-growth and improvement, it's really important that we model the same process that we're asking the superintendent, the administrative team, and the teachers and the students to do annually and every day. And I think it's worthwhile for us to have a deeper discussion about the process that we follow in how we evaluate our performance as a committee, and setting goals for ourselves for improvement, because we ask that every day and every year of our students, our teachers, our administration, and our superintendents, and it's our own policy. So I don't necessarily have an answer of what I think should happen. I have some ideas, but I do think that moving forward, we should have a review of the procedure that we use, the tool that we use. Just to give an example, as I was looking at it and I said, well, what would I do with this information? I'm trying to reflect on it. And one of the things that I struggled with was, sure, there's some ideas in here, but there's not sort of a next step. So, for example, in education, in the self-evaluation process, you reflect on your performance as a teacher or as a superintendent. You look at what have I done, and then you look at, well, where can I improve? What are some areas of improvement? Not necessarily weakness, because I've worked with teachers who were exemplary, and just had discussions with them about, well, what areas could you improve on other than, yes, you're an excellent administrator, you're an excellent teacher, but are there areas that you can improve on? And the same for us, of how do we build into this evaluation process that we have? We answer these questions. They definitely address the 10 areas that are part of our policy, but there's not that next step of reflection. And so maybe looking at the evaluation tool, and if there's a way to build into it that after we've done it, and hopefully, I think 8 out of 13 isn't bad considering the limited discussion that we had. 8 out of 13 people did feel it was a worthwhile process, but is there another step that can be added to it that allows for reflection as a committee that then will help us generate ideas rather than just sort of throwing it out at a meeting? And I know that if I had maybe a part B to that evaluation, to be able to see the results, and then given these results, what are my ideas? What are 2 or 3 things that I would consider that I'd want to bring to the committee for everybody to consider, that more, and everybody else could throw out their ideas, and then we have something to actually work with. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there, based on the feedback that we got from the evaluation form, and then the discussion that we had last month. I welcome anybody else's comments.
Any discussion? Mr.
Does the MASC have, something like a, a follow-up? Do they, cause I didn't see it, I looked it up and I didn't
Yeah.
see anything, so they don't have that
I don't,
guidance?
I'm not aware of it,
Yeah, I didn't see anything, so, but having something where you write comments, afterwards is not, the following month,
Mhm.
bring your comments to, that would complete the process, that sounds reasonable.
Any other discussion? Mr. Lai?
I just want to first thank Ms. Lowell for speaking up. I too left feeling like there was something to be said, but not exactly sure what to say. Having been evaluated, as I know you have been as well, several of us have been evaluated in the evaluation system, I have always found great value in doing evaluation. I hope there's always areas where I need improvement and some areas where I'm proficient. I think we as a committee, both as individual members and as a committee, we too each have areas for improvement. So I would welcome that. I mean, just something as simple as looking at whether our actions conform to our policies. I have like 7 pages here of our governance policies where what we do and what we say we do don't align with one another. So I think there's certainly opportunities for improvement. I have been in other places. There's lots of other districts that do have sort of a school committee retreat after doing the evaluation. It's a public meeting. It's not like we're, going off to Hawaii or something. It's not really that retreat-like when you think about it. But it's an opportunity to conduct sort of a workshop with less formal, rules of order and structure, where we can talk about what are the things that we as a committee individually and as a group would like to do better. I would welcome such an opportunity, but I'd love to know if anybody else feels like that would be a worthwhile use of time.
Any other discussion?
I just to follow up on that, I think that basically is my premise of bringing this back up, is to say the way it's structured right now, the policy is fine, but the procedure that we follow in the process of completing a Google survey form and just having it thrown out at the committee for review is not conducive to the development of goals and objectives, which is what the policy says. And so, I would like to propose that at least in the coming year, that there be some kind of a subcommittee or something that looks at that tool and the procedure that we follow, that will develop a more receptive and better communication around the process to meet the policy, that we actually do develop some goals. A simple one would be just to improve participation. We only had 8 people out of 13 participate, or 14, it should be a goal of 10. Or, as Mary mentioned, looking at policy versus procedure in other areas to just make sure we are better aligned. We could just identify 1 or 2 areas that we want to focus on year to year. We don't have to become perfect overnight, but there's certainly areas that I think we could improve upon. But I think it entails a little more reflection than the process that we've been following.
Any other?
No.
Discussion? Mr. Murphy?
Would that, review, would that fall under the policy subcommittee, or do you think it needs to be a totally separate?
It could be a completely separate, I would say probably the best thing would be to just, have a subcommittee that brings forward to the full committee their recommendations around the evaluation process and maybe improving on the tool. Judging from the comments from last month and the lack of comments, I would say the evaluation tool itself and the methods that we go by are not very conducive to feedback and reflection. And we need to improve upon that piece. And so, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I would say there are many examples of districts where the we call the executive subcommittee, which is sort of the, you know, the chair, vice chair, and maybe the chairs of the subcommittees are oftentimes tasked with governance functions, and this, to me, would be like a example of a governance function, that maybe the executive committee would evaluate the evaluation tool each year, decide, do we wanna make any tweaks, and then what is the process that we wanna follow, as we gather the input, reflect on, and have the sort of meaningful reflection that the policy intends.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out where it should go.
Yep, understood.
Any other discussion? I think the document that we use is an old MASC. My understanding is a very old MASC document. I don't like the document. I don't really even think it's that much of a self-evaluation. Whenever I've done self-evaluations as a school committee member, they're usually a self-evaluation based upon the goals of the school committee and whether or not you're meeting and accomplishing the goals of the school committee. The form that was given out here is random statements with agree or disagree that are not based on any goals or really anything that I think is relevant. You know, I'll give you an example. There's one in there where it says the members are allowed to speak about issues publicly. Somebody said they're not. I don't remember anyone here ever not being allowed to speak publicly about an issue. And I don't think that that's what they're supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be on the basis of a self-evaluation based on, is the school committee as a whole accomplishing its mission and the goals that it sets out? I don't think it's supposed to be, I agree with this statement or that statement, that is, some of it is just complete and utter nonsense that was on that document. So I think a good document would be if the committee had goals, are we meeting those? Are we accomplishing those goals? That's what a self-evaluation should be on. What we were given, I don't consider a self-evaluation. I consider it a bunch of random statements that really didn't make logical sense, and I said I didn't fill it out, and I stand by it because I don't think it was a good evaluation tool that accomplishes absolutely anything. I think it was an outdated document with agree or disagree that just didn't even really follow if you went through it. It didn't make a lot of logical sense on what it was trying to accomplish. Some of it was about agree or disagree with statements about the superintendent. Some of it was about speaking public. There was no flow to it, and it made no logical sense. I don't see how that document could be helpful to any group on how you move forward. And that's why I didn't fill it out. Ms. Drew?
Yeah, I have to agree that I think the tool has been used for the last 10 years, and maybe it could be changed. Do you think that having the executive committee look at it at some point, maybe in the fall, whenever we meet, I'm not sure when we're meeting, would that be helpful, do you think, in keeping it there, or do you think policy? What is your thought on that?
I think it could go to either one of them. You know, in the past, I know a lot of times the chair and the vice chair have got together with, that I've been a part of, sometimes with chairs of, like the policy subcommittee and stuff like that, and tried to draft something to the full committee, so I guess that would be similar to an executive subcommittee.
I'm trying to think of something that would be similar.
Because I'm not sure it would be, the policy is there, it's the document that's not there. So I don't think it would go to policy, because I don't think you need a new policy, I think you need a new document.
Right.
So, but I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts.
So, why don't I do a little research and find out what other school districts are doing and put together something, and I can put together something for the June meeting or for the first meeting in August, or maybe if we don't have July, because we haven't voted on that yet. But let me try to do a little research and see what other people are using and bring that back to you, and you know, at least you can see what others are doing before we make any other kinds of decisions.
Mr. Lai?
I just want to acknowledge, well, thank you, and acknowledge that I think some of us left the meeting thinking that you were thinking, I'm talking about the chair, that evaluation or self-evaluation itself, by its very nature, was a waste of time, but it's clear that you're saying that it's a waste of time because the tool that we were using is not a good tool, and I agree with, I think that's a general sentiment as well, but I appreciate that you appreciate the value of self-evaluations, and thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, my problem was more with the document than the process with it. And whether or not anything ever comes out of that document. And ever since I've been here, we've taken that document up once and we've never spoke about it in that year ever again. So that tells me that document, at least for the last 10 years, has accomplished absolutely nothing. Any other discussion? Ms. Drew?
I would like the superintendent to look into what the other school committees
Yep.
are doing, that would be helpful.
That's a good idea.
I tried, I went online to MASC and didn't find anything, but that would be great, and maybe bring it to August. I think that would be a good time to start, yes? Okay.
Just
Yeah, July or August, depending on when we meet, I think is fine.
That is the
Mr. Russell.
most current one on MASC. I did find it on there.
The one that we're using.
The one we're using, yeah, I
It's
know,
from,
I looked it up.
22. Yeah, rework out for you.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had it for quite a while.
Yeah, and I don't, yeah, I'm not crazy about the format of it. And then it's just not written in a way that is conducive to discussion. It's very hard to look at, and I tried, I went through it and read it over again and looked at the responses that we had, and I was like, I don't even know where I can really go with this, cause I don't know what people were thinking when they responded what they did. And I think that's where I got kind of hung up on that part of the process.
Valialogo.
Is it possible that they can add like open response format to the questionnaire? So
I mean,
people
I guess we could develop anything we
Yeah.
wanted to develop.
I feel-
The document we had was not, it was agreed, like, a 1 or a 5, and if you agree or disagree on the scale.
Yeah, and that type of question, 1 through 5, agree, disagree, it's very hard to get like a basis of how the person's thinking. There's no substance to it, it's just an answer. I think open response would help people reflect better on issues that they care about.
Anyone else? All right, well, superintendent will look into some different instruments than others, and we'll have a further discussion either in July or August. Next item on the agenda is Finance Subcommittee discussion, which is placed back on the table on March 12th. Ms. Delay.
Yes, thank you. I will, in a moment, ask for a motion to remove from the table something that we placed on the table on March 12th, although we put it on the table, but we said we would take it up at a date certain, which was this May meeting. That was the motion that was made, which really is more of a postpone than a table. But that aside, this was in regards to the Finance Committee, so I'm gonna make the motion to take it off the table, but I also wanna just say that based on discussions that I've had and a lot of great feedback and input, I think it seems to me the best course of action would be for me to, if we take it off the table, offer a substitute motion to refer this matter of the Finance Subcommittee and perhaps maybe even all subcommittees to the Policy Subcommittee to maybe flesh out a little bit more, which subcommittees we have, what their roles are, how the members are appointed, just to give us clarity that we don't currently have. So in order to do that, I first need to ask for a motion. I'm making a motion to remove this from the table, this item from the table.
Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Fitzgerald. Just as a point of clarification, I reviewed the minutes in the tape. It was not a motion for a date certain. Mr. Irvin said that, but that was where he was going to go. But Mr. Early made a motion to table, which took precedence over what Mr. Irvin was looking to do. He never actually made a formal motion. Mr. Early ended up making a motion to table, which takes precedence.
Yeah, I too looked back, I thought Mr. Irving made the motion. You asked him if he wanted to have that be taken up at a future date and what future date, and he stated at the May meeting,
I
so.
think it was, ended up being a motion to table. I don't think it, according to our official minutes, it never got in for a date certain. Yeah, so there was an original one, and then it was,
Mr. Early made the original motion to
Yep.
create the Finance
Yep,
Subcommittee.
and then there was a second one to table it. It was not for the date certain. I know we discussed it, but apparently he didn't put it in the actual,
Okay.
the actual motion, but it doesn't really matter anyway. So a motion to remove it from the table, so a yes vote will take it off the table so that we can discuss it again. A no vote would leave it on the table. Any discussion? Seeing none?
Can you repeat that again?
A yes vote
Clarification.
takes the item off the table, and now it's back in front of us like it's a brand-new item. A no vote just keeps it on the table and it stays there.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or clarification from anyone? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early,
No.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi.
Yes.
Ms. Delai.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
No.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Present.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski.
No.
Motion passes. Motion passes. It's back on for discussion as if nothing ever happened, basically.
So I'd like to make a substitute motion. The initial motion was that we create a finance subcommittee. I would like to substitute the motion that we refer the matter of the creation of a finance subcommittee and the delineation of the other subcommittees to the policy subcommittee to deliberate and bring something back if they so choose to the full committee.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Ms. Lowell. Discussion.
Can you clarify it again, please?
She is asking to, would you like to clarify your motion? I don't want
I'm
to speak for you.
asking to refer to the policy subcommittee, the discussion of the finance subcommittee that's referred to in our policy, and to amend the policy so that there is consistency between what we are going to do and what our policy says.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Mr. Murphy?
Mr. Lott, was there something else that you mentioned about the other subcommittees as well?
That as part of their, perhaps as part of their evaluation of the finance subcommittee, they could also delineate clearly the subcommittees that we, as a committee, have. So it's formally spelled out somewhere that we have an instruction subcommittee, a plant subcommittee, a policy subcommittee, and what each of those subcommittees do.
Any other discussion?
Wheels are turning, I'm not sure.
So I just, to
Ms.
wrap
Lowell.
my head around it, you're looking for the policy subcommittee to review the policies that govern our
Yes.
creation of subcommittees and how they're structured.
Exactly. There's a specific policy like BDE on subcommittees.
Yeah.
And so I think that's probably where they would start, by looking at what does that say, and does it clarify what the subcommittees of our committee currently are, because they're not really spelled out anywhere in our policies.
Okay.
Ms. O'Connor?
I have a question. For clarification, so you're saying on one hand, bring it to the policy committee to discuss moving forward with the finance committee. Then on the other hand, you're also saying to have the policy subcommittee look at the policy that breaks down what each subcommittee does. To me, those are two different things.
The subcommittee, what I would envision happening is that the policy subcommittee would look at policy BDE, subcommittees of the committee, and they would say, our policies say we have this subcommittee and this subcommittee. In addition, we also have subcommittees that are not named anywhere in our policies. So the idea here is that this policy subcommittee would look at their subcommittee policy and clarify what are the various subcommittees that the Whittier School Committee has, and what are the roles of each of those. So just to clarify, so everybody knows, and it's in our policy, these are the subcommittees that we have, and this is what we are asking them to do.
Now, back in March, when this was originally brought up and tabled, quite a few members had mentioned about the executive board is performing what the finance subcommittee would do. And there was discussion on just changing the executive board, or maybe the wording in the policy, to not call it the finance subcommittee, but to call it the executive board.
And that would be, I would imagine that would be what the policy subcommittee would deliberate. We currently have policies that refer to a finance subcommittee. Do we want to change that to the executive subcommittee? Do they want to include in the policy BDE and articulate, we will have this committee, and this committee, and this is what their role will be?
now that Dave Irving's left, the policy subcommittee really only consists of 3 people, correct?
I haven't seen who is assigned to the policy subcommittee at this point.
I haven't reassigned, the members yet. I think I'm just gonna do it. I got request, I think, from only 2 or 3 of you, for your assignments, so, I'll just put people wherever.
Yeah.
Can't meet every request anyway, but I wanted to see where people's interests were, but,
Yeah.
I didn't get those, responses back, which is fine. I don't mind just, assigning the committees. Mr. Murphy?
So basically you're asking the policy subcommittee to define the role of each subcommittee.
Exactly,
Okay.
which subcommittees do we have?
Yeah.
And what is the role of each subcommittee? And so if this policy subcommittee decides they're gonna put forth that one of our subcommittees is the executive subcommittee, and the executive subcommittee will perform the role of what's referred to as the finance
Yeah.
committee, or maybe they'll say just strike finance committee, but leave it to them.
Yeah,
To-
so you're
to
just,
sort that out.
we're just defining
Exactly,
each subcommittee.
thank you, yes.
Yeah, so to clarify the motion, because Mr. Lai, let me make sure everyone understands here, I think, so that I understand, because I know last time we were talking about a finance subcommittee, and this time it's about a finance subcommittee, and then it's also everything else. So taking a look at whether a finance subcommittee should be established, and then looking at every other subcommittee, and then, like, you want them to even look at policy subcommittee and say what the policy subcommittee does, even though, like, we know the policy subcommittee does policy.
Yeah, there's a lot of templates out there that they can look at from other districts that have exactly this. They'll have a policy BDE or BDEA, and it will specify. So I'm not saying to create a finance or not create, that's not, I'm basically sort of, that was tabled, but I'm asking that the policy subcommittee review its subcommittee policy and clearly articulate who are our subcommittees, what are our subcommittees, and what are we asking them to do, because it's not clarified anywhere.
Ms. O'Connor, and then Ms. Drew.
So, I've been on the policy subcommittee, I think since I've been on this committee, so I don't know how many years that is, maybe 9. We've been very diligent on reviewing all of our policies, and we follow MASC pretty much to a T. I also served on the policy subcommittee in Nantucket, and I did that for all the years I was there as well. I was there for 3 terms, so that's also 9 years. So essentially, I think I have 18 years of policy subcommittee behind me, if you will. With Pentucket, it was very different the way it was handled than it is here. Here, we pretty much follow what MASC does. So, must have recently visited this particular policy within the last few years and reviewed it and didn't have any problems with it and pretty much adopted what MASC has. So I would like to know, I would like to have it brought to the table if it's voted through. What does MASC's look like, or we pretty much go along with what they have?
As for clarification, I think we have their policy. We adopt their policies through a set, as the policy subcommittee takes a batch of them every so often, and whatever the updated MASC document is what we're operating under.
Correct.
So we are operating under, the last time it was updated.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't like we just wrote them out of the clear blue. I mean,
No, it wasn't.
We have guidance.
Yes, this committee, as you said, is different than other committees that I've served on. It takes the boilerplate template from MASC and has consistently adopted the template that MASC gives. So that's what we have for mostly all of our policies. Ms. Drew?
I almost forgot what I was gonna say. I think it might be helpful to just clarify the executive committee, it functions as a finance committee. But I believe we also do, sometimes have to discuss administrative items as well that don't have anything to do with finance. So maybe it would be a good idea, for the policy committee to just consult with the superintendent just to check on those things, because I'm new to the executive, so I'm not really sure that we cover things other than finance. I'm just putting in my 2 cents, I'm good, all right.
Yeah, I think we do. I think in other districts, it's probably the administrative and finance subcommittee that
Yeah.
the executive would be very similar to here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm new, so I don't know what all the committees do, you know, so it would be nice to have some sort of document saying, this is what policy does, this is what curriculum, I mean, I know what curriculum does, and I was in a vocational school, but just so it clears that everybody that's on board, like our nice little rally member might not know all the different policies, all the different committees and what they do. It would make it easier for him to make a decision on what he wants to be on.
Mr. Lai?
Just to clarify 2 things, we do have policies, we are pretty well aligned to the MASC policy manual, but we do have policies that are not in the MASC policy model, manual that we somewhere along the line adopted.
Because we're a technical school, vocational school.
Yeah, but there are, I think there are other examples as well, but then there are also examples of other school districts who have inserted policies similar to one. So I think the policy subcommittee members would be able to look at some samples from other districts that have done exactly what I'm thinking would be helpful to us as a body to clarify.
Anyone else?
Would attorneys, so if we're going off course from mass, is what you're saying?
No. No, we've have several policies that don't align to the MASC policies. And there are several districts that have policies that go beyond what's in the MASC policy as well. So this isn't something, this clarifying what we agree to as our subcommittees is not something that I think MASC is going to establish a policy on, because every committee is different. I provided some data that, you know, there's a lot of similarities between what districts have as subcommittees, but then there are some wildly different subcommittees as well.
So this would also probably involve an attorney at some point
I don't think so.
to review a policy?
Not a policy where we have just expressed for our own agreement that these are the subcommittees that we have in place.
Yes, the secretary needs a clarification on the
What
motion.
is the motion? Are you creating a finance
The motion is to
committee?
refer to, nope, the motion is to refer to the policy subcommittee,
Yeah.
the alignment of our subcommittees to what we currently have in place.
So refer to the policy subcommittee, the alignment of our subcommittees to what we have in place.
Exactly.
That's the
Yes.
motion?
Yes.
Would that be similar to define the roles and the duties?
Yes. Define the roles and the duties, yep, of the subcommittees in one of our policies.
But as the chair, you can still create like tonight, you almost created a subcommittee to address the issue with evaluation of the school, right? You
Yes.
still have that, if not the chair, then.
These would be what was considered standing committees as opposed to ad hoc committees.
got it.
Yeah.
And I think, I just wanna
Ms.
add,
Lowell.
in terms of, looking at the legality of any language changes or that sort of thing, we're really, I think, in reference to the evaluation tool, it ends with the basic statement of, for this purpose, the school committee will adopt a self-evaluation instrument. It doesn't define anything that the committee has to do, you know, it leaves it open. And the same thing with this, whether we use MASC specific language or tweak it a little bit, or add a sentence saying, and these are our standing committees.
Right.
You're not changing the policy except to just define it further, in how we actually function.
Ms. O'Connor?
I'm kind of caught off guard here, cause when I looked at our agenda, it's very clear that it reads as finance subcommittee discussion placed on the table. It says nothing at all about this other stuff that we're discussing.
I've offered a substitute motion to the initial motion. My initial motion was to create the finance subcommittee. The feedback I got was refer this to the policy subcommittee and have them clarify
But that's
what
one
all-
thing.
what all of our subcommittees.
And then you have something over here. I'm still seeing it as two different
No,
things.
it's refer to the policy subcommittee, all of our subcommittees.
But that's not on here.
I've offered a substitute motion to the initial motion.
So, you asking me to rule if it's on the agenda or not? The advertised agenda is finance subcommittee discussion place, so she's probably technically right, so shame on me. I probably should have said to just add a motion to suspend the rules to comply with the open meeting law. Now that I think about it.
I think
That
when
she
you,
brought it to my-
when you table a motion,
But you tabled it under finance subcommittee discussion, so
That's
that's the
right.
motion
And
that's
so I-
tabled, so
but
that's
I-
what's back.
took it off.
If you're
And
gonna
I'm
discuss a different item under the open meeting law, it technically has to be advertised
I'm
under
o-
that unless you ask for a motion to suspend the rules.
well, I'm offering a substitute motion, so that's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for the body to accept the substitute motion that I'm offering.
So I think it has to be done, I'm gonna rule that it has to
Okay.
be done under a suspension, so I'm gonna rule the motion out of order. And that if it's gonna be done, it has to be done under a suspension of the rules.
All right.
So we can do it that way, and then you can discuss anything you want relative to subcommittees under a suspension of the rule. But the item on the agenda was finance subcommittee, which was publicly advertised. So I think technically, we have to stick to those parameters under there unless we suspend the rules.
Well, I'll ask for a motion then to suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Lai to suspend the rules to discuss subcommittees.
Second.
By Mr. Murphy. Any discussion on suspension? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early,
No.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Ms. Delai,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia,
No.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
No.
Mr. Slabowski.
No.
Passed. All right, the rules are suspended. In the future, if we're gonna have different items, we're gonna make sure that we place these on the agenda to comply with the open meeting law. Because even under a suspension of the rules, if the item was reasonably anticipated to be discussed, it could be technically a violation of the open meeting law. So whether or not somebody wants to challenge this item, we'll leave that up to the viewers at home.
That's fine. I think the motion still stands. I think the motion is to refer to the policy subcommittee to clarify the roles and responsibilities of the subcommittees of the Whittier Tech. I know I changed it, I'm sorry. I'm trying to make it as clear as possible.
Okay, now I need that again.
Yeah.
So it's not the alignment and
To
all
ask
that
the
stuff.
policy subcommittee to clarify which subcommittees we have and the roles and responsibilities of those subcommittees
Okay.
through policy.
Is there a second?
I just had.
Second.
Okay, yep.
Any discussion?
I'm just looking at the MSAC page for Whittier, and it appears here, Mayor, that, all the different subcommittees are there with a little description of what they do.
Says it right there.
Doesn't that, that's what I'm looking at here. So
Under
that is
MASC or under Whittier?
MASC, and it says
Right.
Whittier. No, but it says Whittier Online Policies. And so I clicked on Basic Instructional Programs, and it says, consistent with the statutory mandate, the Whittier Regional Vocational Technical School District will provide students of the Whittier District with these subjects considered to be those subjects which are considered to be essential to the development of fundamental learning and living skills, instructions, and it goes on. But quite honestly, I didn't know this existed, but it does exist, and it seems like it does say what the policy, what the committees do.
It does, our policy, we do not have any policy in our policy manual that spells out which committees, which subcommittees we have as a Whittier School Committee. We have a policy on subcommittees that talks about what subcommittees are generally, but we do not have any policy that states these are the subcommittees that we, the Whittier School Committee have, and this is their roles and
I guess
responsibilities.
the thought was that you were referring to the MASC,
Yeah, because we've always gone that route.
which does
MASC
specifically
versus-
say Whittier.
Yeah. I mean, like Mary had said, we do have to have some variation though, because we are a vocational school. So some
No,
things might not apply and other things we have to add in accordingly.
Mr. Early?
Could you explain the motion, please?
Do you want me to explain the motion?
He's so cute.
Well,
Lisa,
Lisa has.
Oh, you want her to read it back?
Yes.
Read it back? Well, I'll try.
I feel like I'm back in Haverhill.
To clarify which subcommittees we have and the roles and responsibility of those subcommittees, correct? Okay.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table this to the next meeting, to June's meeting, just to make sure we're not violating any open meeting laws. We can all do a little bit more research possibly and come back, more knowledge. Put it there so we're not in violation, just to be safe, so we don't have to answer anything.
I'll second that.
Motion to table by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Early. Motion to table takes precedence.
Table to the June.
Yeah, well, to table it to the June, to make sure that, because
Isn't
it
there-
was under a different item.
Isn't there a vote on that?
Yeah, that will.
Okay.
No, we have to-
Take her first.
There is no
Just a point-
discussion on tabling.
Okay.
A point of order.
Oh, there's no discussion.
I think you just said motion to table to the June meeting. As I understand it, you can't table to a date certain. You can postpone to a date certain, but tabling a motion means you are tabling it for that meeting to discuss it later when you get to, after you get to more pressing business, or to take it up at a subsequent meeting.
I'm gonna
If
rule
you're
the
gonna
motion is in order.
specify.
If you'd like to challenge the ruling of the chair, you could.
What's that?
I'm gonna rule the motions in order. You can make a motion to challenge the ruling of the chair if you want.
This is a handy little.
Yeah.
What did you say? That it's in order. So to table to the June meetings, make sure no violation of open meeting law. That was his
It's a
motion.
motion to table to make sure we're in compliance with the open meeting law. No discussion on a motion to table. Yes vote will table it till next month. A no vote will not table it. Call
Okay.
the-
Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan,
Yes,
Mr. Rossi,
Yes.
Mr. Lai,
No.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mr. Paglia.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy,
Yes.
Ms. Lowell,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Slabowski.
Yes.
Motion's tabled. Next item on the agenda is new business superintendent evaluation form. You all should have a copy of it in your, if you didn't get the hard copy, you should have it in the Google Classroom, right? To fill it out. We're trying to get those back for a presentation on the composite score at the next meeting in June. Any discussion on the superintendent's evaluation
when
form?
do you need it back by?
Hoping to get it back for the next meeting so that we can have the superintendent's evaluation on the next meeting.
Can I bring it in next meeting, or do you want it before?
We would need it before to composite the score.
It's like a week before the meeting.
Yeah, just so that we can have time to present a composite score, and then we'll have a full discussion on the superintendent's evaluation with all the members.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Reports of the special subcommittees, executive, it doesn't look like there is any. Instructional personnel, Ms. True, it does not look like there's any.
Don't believe, maybe in the fall.
Plan operations, Mr. Murphy, looks like you do have minutes for a vote.
Motion to approve the minutes of the April 9th meeting.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Murphy, seconded by Mr. Rossi. Any discussion on the minutes of the plant operations? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. Early?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Ms. Delai?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mr. Paglia?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Ms. Lowell?
Yes.
Mr. Bo?
Abstain?
Ms. True?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Slavoski?
Yes.
Salaries, passes. Salaries and negotiations, Mr. Early. Any
We've
reports?
got a lot of moving parts, but we have nothing to talk about right now.
Policy, there is no current chairman. There was no meetings, correct?
No. Could I,
Plant ops needs a meeting, the next, wanna do it next
June
month?
11th, yeah, 5:30?
Before the meeting, yeah.
5:30 or 6?
Is there, will we have a lot? Yeah. Let's do 5:30. That was what, June 11th?
Yeah.
Any other meetings needed for subcommittees?
Not that I know of right now. Salary, we may, but I don't want to book that now.
All right, seeing none. Thank you again, Ms. Habib. Good luck with everything. And we're glad we're making your final school committee meeting interesting. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Fitzgerald, seconded by Mr. Murphy. All in favor of adjournment? Anybody opposed? We are adjourned.